Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast, season opener, first post match of the season. Positive vibes. I'm not gonna lie, I went in expecting nothing, and I was actually super pleasantly surprised. It wasn't a vintage, blowing teams out of the water kind of performance, but so many positives to take home from. So many um, things to ponder upon. The diamond, which initially we thought wouldn't be, too successful, especially in the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought we were struggling, for creating any sort of a chance. But after that, I think we slowly grew into the game, and Bilbao didn't have much to offer. Um, but big up the chat, big up every single one of you, who has been following us on this journey. We are into our third season, so it's not a small feat for us. We didn't expect to be here for the third season running, but we have been doing this, man. It's been a very humbling experience, to be honest. On that note, welcome our esteemed panel, Doris and Farouk. I'll come to you, Doris, first. It's been a while, man. How are you? How's it
Hola,
going?
it's been pretty tough summer, working hard, but I've managed to at least, watch the preseason games. Um, I share basically the same feelings you guys had, but for tonight, I'm feeling good for this game.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that, man. Welcome back, Doris. Farouk, bro, it's been kind of a up and down preseason. We have had our highs, and going into the season opener, especially with the Mbappe thing still not tied up, you didn't expect a smooth sailing opening day, did you?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't what I expected at all, honestly. So
Mm.
it was really refreshing because as you said, like that's the thing, like I think everyone was worried like how will the Diamond cope eventually, like that's the biggest worry, but honestly, like oh yeah, as you said, it's not like, a perfect performance or like or something like that, but at least considering how low at least from my side, how low the expectations were, like, just seeing people running and putting in tackles for me was, more than a really good evening, honestly.
Team showed tremendous fight, I must say.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
and it's expected. It's expected, of course. We're Real Madrid, and we are aware the San Mames first game of the season is obviously expected. For us to show some grit, but no, nowhere else to begin. But I guess with Jude Bellingham, it's only right. Man of the match for me, man of the match for every single one watching, I hope, because the man was a two-way machine. When I repeat, he was a two-way machine. It really exemplifies what he brings to the team. It's just not his ability to, unlock defenses and, dribble past players with ease, but also his positioning, his willingness to track back, and how he does it so effortlessly. Like, how does he have that IQ to defend as well, Farouk? Like, it surprises me, honestly, because he's supposed to be a final third player. He's most awake. He smells blood the most in the, final phase of the pitch. But somehow he manages to, be at the right place to defend dangerous counters as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, as you said, like, the team had a lot of fight in them and, no one, signified that, better than Jude Bellingham, honestly. And as that's the thing, like it's very difficult to classify, this modern day midfielders. Like, will you classify them, as attacking midfielder or as a central midfielder or as a defensive midfielder? Like, you literally don't know. Like, there are those breeds of players that literally can do, everything all at once. The athleticism is there, the technicality is there, the ability, to have this, the defensive nous also is also there, as we saw, a couple of times with Jude as well. So honestly, I think, it's just that's the breed of the current midfielders we have. Honestly, like it's just like a two-way midfield, like it's the athleticism is there and everything is there. So that's just what they're built to do these days. Honestly, it's difficult to quantify, how they do this because I know like any, layman, just jumping up and down the pitch, just one, two times you'll be dead, but they keep going for straight 90 minutes. So yeah, honestly, kudos to Jude on his debut today.
Well, Well, his work rate is pretty well known. And I used to tell people, like, yes, he is the guy who would get on highlight reels, but there's so much that Jude Bellingham does that probably misses the eye because it's so much like second nature to him. I used to reiterate it so much that when I watched him a little more intensively, like I could notice that he really puts in a shift, and it's not normal to have that kind of hunger, especially if you're much more of a luxury kind of midfielder. He is not as much as a workhorse as a Fede or a Kamavinga or even a Chouameni, but even then, he's willing to put in the hard yards for the sake of the team, which is super refreshing, man. Super refreshing. It is the fundamentals to a great career where your team definitely the people around him they trust him with so much that like they don't second guess whether we should pass the ball to Jude or should we find him in open space, should we like look for him. It's so natural. And like what Danielson has been saying, pick up Danielson, he's been saying, man, looks like he's been here for over 3 seasons. Doris, let's talk about his goal. I mean, that's a finish for a top striker, even though it was kind of miss it into the ground. He has an eye for a finish.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of a lucky hit, you could say, but it was still intentional. But that's the good thing. And Ancelotti said himself, like that some people think that it was a bit of a dig, at the board. But he said, we have Rodrigo, Vinicius, Bellingham, and Cruz to score goals and defenders, of course. But yeah, both Rodrigo and Bellingham proved tonight that they can score, and both goals were definitely deserved and came at the right time. Maybe we expected, a better goal for Bellingham, like a nicer finish, a nicer goal, but he was exactly at the spot, like every time that we watch a game that I wish that, they crossed the ball too, Usually we go for near post, which I was never a fan, but it paid off, you know, sometimes, but usually Valverde occupies that space, and finally someone crossed to him, and a goal came out of it. Perfect.
Some people would argue the marking was super poor from Bilbao, which you
Oh,
can,
definitely,
absolutely
definitely.
make a
The
case for. But
the entire game, I think Bilbao was really poor.
mm,
We usually expect them. They are a really tough team, like a really tough team, and they always give us a tough time. But this game was just not it for them. From the beginning, they didn't start well, and for a second, I thought that it was us that were so good, but it was actually Bilbao that had a really poor performance for their games.
I'll have to kind of disagree with it a bit because they started off pretty well. We were kind of on the back foot for the opening 20, 15 or 20 minutes, in my opinion. And Bilbao
They
actually
had
looked like they.
one shot on goal, for
I
I
know,
I
but
don't
still,
yeah.
just the opening 15, 20 minutes. But after that, like even somewhere in the second half, early parts of the second half, they tried to do something,
Yeah, they did.
but I don't know, nothing. Yeah,
But it
nothing really
wasn't
clicked for them.
yeah, that's not enough for them. They're,
Mm,
used to much more than that.
100%. Especially in front of the home crowd, there were massive groans, like especially towards the end of the first half, after we, went in with two quick fire goals in front. Like it wasn't easy for the San Mames faithful to watch that. Um, but let's get to some of the comments quickly. Big up every single one of you on the chat. Ta Saliba says either Winnie evolves or he vanishes. That's a bit harsh. We always knew, we're going to talk about it. In a diamond, you can't expect a man who is a wide winger to have the instinct to move inside the box. It's not going to happen. His first instinct is to find space out wide and then try to cut inside and probably, nick a shot or something. So it's too harsh, Sas, but welcome back, man. He also says, not gonna lie, Bale, Ronaldo, all evolved. I get it, but Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo, like by the time they were Vinny's age, Vinny's has improved massively, but I think they were much more natural finishers. I may be wrong. I may be having some sort of a nostalgia trip when I refer to that, but I honestly believe that there is a reason why they turned out to be, like super, very elite finishers, into their primes. Let's hope Vinny finds that, like the trajectory is pretty great so far.
So the question is this though, like I don't know if Tass is still there as well. The question is this, like Jacob asked me that question, so I'm just gonna pose it to you guys. Do you guys see Vinny scoring 40 goals a year?
Not yet, no.
No, it's not about not yet, Sunay. The point is, even go back and see the Raúls, the Ronaldos. They weren't scoring 40 goals a year, man. Cristiano and Messi and then Lewandowski, Benzema, Suarez spoiled us. We expecting Vinny already has about 50 goals contribution a year for the past 2 years. What you expect for him is just to maintain consistency and improve decision making and maybe get to 55 or something like this. But like asking for Vinny to evolve and become something else because the team refused to buy a striker, I think it's unfair on Vinny himself.
100%.
Because we're asking him to be something that already he's performing at a very high level.
Yeah.
What he needs to do now is just, improve decision making, bring in orders into play and stuff like that. Obviously, like his finishing still needs to improve as well. But the point is, I feel like like I don't know what Tass is thinking as well, but what's the limit that we wanna place for Vini? Like, is it like scoring 40 goals? I mean, even Klose is the highest goal scorer at the World Cup. He never scored more than 30 in a single season. Even the best strikers that you talk about, the Roots.
But Klose wasn't really prolific. He is a bad example.
Klose was a really good goal scorer, man. He was like,
but he wasn't really prolific. You check his league record; it's not great.
Oh, okay, forget about Miroslav Klose, Raúl González, Pippo Inzaghi, Ruud van Nistelrooy. The list keeps going on and on. Tell me how many of them
those guys were like proper strikers, right? The expectation stems from guys like Gareth Bale, not so much, but
no. What I'm saying to you is that even these are strikers that you hold on the pedestal, right? They don't score 40 goals. How are you expecting a winger like Vinicius to score 40 goals?
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm trying to tell him as well. Like, you make a very good point because Ruud van Nistelrooy was a poacher. Vinicius is a winger, a classic winger. Like, he's some sort of a blend between a throwback winger and some sort of a modern winger. Like, he wouldn't be ever as prolific as Cristiano. Like, so it's an expectation that's going to only, drive you down a hole. It's not going to benefit us, no chance. But it's a good talking point. But let's see. Stranger things have happened in football, man. Let's be honest. Dennis the Great says, big up everyone. Good win, I hope and pray Militao ain't out for long. But it looked bad. We move on to Almera away next Saturday. Yeah, big up Dennis, man. Militao's injury looked super unfortunate. There was no pressure on him. Basically he kind of slipped and fell over. Farouk is keeping an eye on Madrid Extra. If something comes up, we'll be sure to touch upon it.
Actually, Caro just said, Militao has suffered a sprain to the knee. It doesn't look good, but we're going to evaluate it in the next 2 hours. I hope it's nothing serious. Then they asked him, is there a chance for it to be an ACL? He said, we cannot rule anything out.
Thibaut and then this, man. And then Kepa, boy, oh boy. Oof, Kepa being starting keeper. I mean, like, my estimation of him has gone up a bit, especially when he benched Edward Mendy at Chelsea. Like, he has some sort of a rise in stock, but still Kepa is too error-prone. Like, he's not really good at crosses. Not really good in general. Like, he has a lapse in concentration here and there. But big up every single one of you, man. Right, let's kind of get into how the match kind of, unfolded. For me, another guy I should big up really is Carvajal. Even before his goal, like I had noted this down, like in a space of like a minute or so, man won back the possession like 2 times, and 2 times where he had no right to win back, possession. Like, he was truly, I think, kind of spurred on by the captain's armband. It was super refreshing to see. Carvajal has like kind of has been the name on everyone's lips where they say man has been declining. Doris, kind of a vintage Carvajal performance to a certain extent.
Yeah, he mixed up the a good performance with a bad attitude, and it's normal for Danny Carvajal. Is I feel like he's the best when he's like that, even though he's had one of his worst moments, when he's heated, and multiple times during the game, he tried to dive and fall down for no reason,
Some
but
dark arts, yeah, for sure.
yeah, some of it, yeah. But apart from that, I think he had a really solid performance. He got an assist, right? So that's always a good performance for especially a fullback. Means he did his job, and the clean sheet. That's all you can ask for.
And the assist wasn't a normal assist. I mean, he really,
Classic
gave it his
Alaba,
all to.
yeah,
Yeah, the
classic Alaba.
combination was nice. Like it's funny because I had like in my notes I had just written like Danny and Rodrigo ain't on the same wavelength, and like 10 minutes later, boom, they somehow managed to nick out a combination. And yeah, man, I feel like obviously we all know Unai Simon should have definitely done better, but Farouk Rodrigo time and time again, man has a way to finish.
Like, as I said, like I really, expect that big breakout for him because if there's a player like on the team, at least from that counter attacking output, who I expect, to because let's not forget, like honestly, like Rodrigo has always been an afterthought, throughout the time with Benzema and Vinicius playing together. I understand like this, I think will be the
Yeah.
first time that actually, he is a shoe-in starter in the team. Even if Mbappe comes or whoever is a striker, like right now, a midfielder is gonna get dropped, and Rodrigo is gonna start. Like this is the first time, that he is a shoe-in starter in the team. So honestly, like I'm not surprised by the way he took the goal. Obviously, as you said, maybe the goalkeeper should have done better, could have done better, but that's a story for the gods. But it was a really
Sorry, Farouk, you got cut off at the end. My bad.
yeah, sorry, the tram was passing, so I just had to.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah,
good,
but
good, good decision.
yeah. So, anyways, it was,
Right.
it was actually, like that kind of chance is the kind of thing that like honestly, like I
Mm.
wouldn't expect Vinicius to take that because like it was an opportunistic chance. I don't know if that makes sense in the sense that the
But
ball is
we
just
have seen
bouncing in front
Rodrigo
of you,
do that
and
way too often, right, Farouk? Like when
that's
someone
the point I'm
grabs
trying to make
opportunities.
actually.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to
Mm.
like Rodrigo is more of, you wouldn't say he's a poacher, but he has that sense of smelling that, okay,
Jammy.
like
He's
this
like
is.
a jammy player. Jammy player.
Yeah, exactly. So like, like it's just a loose ball. Okay, like let's just, put our laces through it and scruff it. Wherever it goes, it goes. If it comes, it comes, that kind of thing. And I think that's something that, is gonna help him a lot to improve his study this year. And honestly, I just wanna, touch on Carvalho as well because I've been one of the person that has been, adamant of fullbacks. But honestly, I think like the captain Ambad was like an injection of youth into his vein, honestly because I can't remember I mean, maybe the last time I saw this was maybe the beginning of last season or something like that. Well, I think I can't remember seeing this Carval for the past 6 months or something like that. But it was a fantastic performance in my opinion.
Danny really kind of rolled back the years, which is very nice to see. And the way Doris kind of was annoyed by the dark arts, I think it got to the crowd. Man knew, how to rile up every single one from the get go for no reason. Remember, like while taking a corner, he's just bumping into people, rolling on the floor for nothing, basically nothing. Kind of getting into their skins early on. When it works and we win, it looks great. But when we, have a
Exactly.
stinker,
I was
yeah.
just about to say that. How many times has
Mm,
he fucked us over with those uh, challenges? If we even
yeah,
call them that, how many
yeah.
times has he just like murdered someone? And the fans were booing him for the same reason, that he was acting right now.
Mm.
And
You mean
Yuri
our
was
own
also
fans? Are you referring to our own
no
fans booing it?
no
Opposition
the
fans, right, right, right.
opposition fans. He injured, you know. If,
Mm, mm.
remember in the last game against Bilbao last
Bilbao, yeah,
season,
yeah,
yeah,
last year, yeah.
yeah.
And the coach, I think, Valverde was mentioning, like, that guy still hasn't returned. I forget who he was, but
Jure
um,
Bentic.
oh, Berchiche, yeah, okay, 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 fair, 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 fair. Right. Who else should we talk about? Okay, since we are wing backs, let's talk about Fran Garcia. Someone I saw someone who was just like us, having a struggle to kind of cope up with new environments, basically, newfound environments playing in the first team, um, kind of like a deer in headlights for large parts of the first half. Very costly giveaway that almost ended up in a goal with Unai Gomez, I think, who is a very promising upcoming player for Bilbao. He almost kind of gave up momentum for us in the game. But after that, I think he had a mental switch go off. In the second half, he kind of tightened it up a lot more, and yeah, stepped up to the plate, delivered a few nice crosses, especially the cross to Rodrigo, where I think Rodrigo should have made a far post run, at least even an attempt to kind of throw the centre back off. But um, Fran Garcia, Doris, first impressions.
Yeah, he had I think a really good p- performance, and especially if I remember one cross that he had for Rodrigo, and I wish that Rodrigo got to it because that was a really good chance. But apart from that, I think he had a solid performance, even though a few times in the defense he left a lot of space, you know. But I'm not sure if that was intentional because every time Kamavinga would run after him, maybe they were trying to close, with two people. But if that wasn't the case and it was Kamavinga that had to do that, then you know then it would be a bad performance, I would say, but it's difficult to say, especially because he's so young and he's, so new, not really used to this, I guess, system, even though this season I have no idea what this is. And
If
none
you
of us.
watched preseason extensively, like you would have noticed that Fran Garcia, his synergy with Vinicius, sometimes he doesn't really know when to stay, when to go.
Yeah, yeah,
And in the diamond, it's not pretty straightforward for a wing back. It's much more circumstance oriented. Like you really have to kind of read a situation like three, four passes before it unfolds. So he's young, like you said. It'll only become better as he ages. Mm, But yeah, like you said, there were some really bright moments. Farouk, man, Fran Garcia, do you think that he can really kind of step up and completely negate Mendy out of the first team?
I don't think so. I think Mendy's biggest enemy is himself. The ability to remain fit is Mendy's biggest problem, and he just seems like he can't get fit. Well, honestly, I share similar sentiments to what you had as well in the sense that for the first half, I felt like he was all over the place, and then he came out of the second half, and he really tried to. I wouldn't say he gave a perfect performance, but I would say for the first time, honestly, I would I would beg to give him a 5 or 6, something like that. But obviously, there are things that looks like positive there, especially from an attacking sense. Defensively, I think he's still all over the place. There's
Mhm.
definitely room for improvement there. But
But there
I don't
was
know
one
what.
instance where he kind of cleared a cross, a dangerous cross. He was there, right place, right time to kind of head it away. I think it was from their left hand side, which came from our right hand side, somewhere where Danny was, and Fran Garcia was there to kind of I never thought he would be a fullback who would be adapted defending crosses from deep, which I was surprised of. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, so that one thing actually I would like to point, about him as well is the fact that I actually
Mm,
felt like Garcia actually made at least myself see how fluid our midfield can be because whenever
mm,
Garcia was being attacked, like after for the first 15, 20 minutes, honestly, he was being attacked a lot, before the Nico Williams actually switched and then no one was attacking him anymore. Well, after that, like actually what I noticed was that either Kamavinga or Fede or Jude actually were always coming to like become a double, like to team up with him at least to, support him and, give him that chance of not being isolated 1v1. So I think
yeah,
that in that sense, like from that defensive sense, I think if our midfield will continue to be this workaholic of a midfield,
giving him some
I
sort
think
of a if there's someone to hold his hand, yeah, I get it.
exactly.
Mm,
If they're gonna keep doing that, I think he's gonna easily grow more confidence and be more confident about his whole defending team. However, the problem remains on the attacking side, and honestly, like the formation right now still looks all over the place. Honestly, in my opinion, so I think for him being a fullback who's gonna like to cross in the ball, like he's gonna go there and what am I gonna do? Am I gonna cross? Am I not gonna cross? Because as we've seen, even with Carval, like there are
mm.
instances where he was caught in two-minded, and this is a very experienced player also. Not having that figure to hit the ball to is also something that is gonna matter a lot for him. So how will he adapt to that, or how will he fix his footballing IQ when that comes to it? So it's but then again, it's a matter of time. It's the first game of the season, so I believe that based on the showings of the second half, there is something there that we can work with.
100%. Like what Doris mentioned, like that. If there is someone to really cover up for some of his positional frailties, like there is a real player there, and I think that diamond setup we have, especially with you know our young crop, like they support each other so well. I mean, they're very selfless, and when you combine the selflessness with how athletic and positionally intelligent you are for your age, it's a pretty deadly combination. And I saw glimpses of how in their peak this midfield can actually look. um I want to actually get into the midfield, but before that we should kind of close out our center backs. Militao, till he got injured, I think he had a good game. But even then, Militao had some lapses, which I have come to expect. But I just hope he gets well ASAP, because we have center backs for cover, but we need all the depth we can get. Like especially since um, goals are gonna be kind of a luxury, so we need defenders, man. Honestly, Alaba, Doris, yet again, when man plays, there is composure. Key word, composure. Always, every game, every minute.
Yeah, man is just uh, when he came here, like he got the number 4, and that's like a huge, huge, huge number for us. For filling Ramos' shoes is something, and for Alaba to just come in like that, it's amazing. But for Militao, he got injured, and he's still, I would say, our best defender, even though Alaba, is definitely class, and the pairing definitely works. Rudiger, as much as people would say that he's world class, that he's amazing, and he is, but he will have to prove himself this time.
You mean
He
Rudiger,
got
yeah?
his yeah, he got his minutes here and there, last season, but this time, it's gonna be on him, and it will have to work. There is, like no, there is no other way to say it, and with Nacho and Alaba, it will probably be the pairing for this season. Rudiger will still have to fight for that spot, and we have to see something from him, and definitely from last season, what we could see is that we're missing the goals from Rudiger. When he came here, the first thing I thought it was gonna be goals. Finally, now finally we were all right in the air, in the best of time, in the
Rudiger's
17,
idol
18.
is Rudiger's idol is Pepe Doris, and Pepe,
Yeah,
you remember like how many vital goals he used to pop up with every
yeah.
season.
And like I said, like in our best times, we had, Cristiano, Bale, Benzema, Ramos, Casemiro, so many people, that could head the ball. And, now we have Rodrigo and Vinicius that are, they're not really that tall, even though, height isn't everything for aerials, but still, it is important. And I really hope, that Rudiger could, fill that hole, because Alaba wasn't really the guy for attacks that really asked for those headers. It's Militao, and Rudiger also sometimes. So yeah, this season everyone will need to step up. But I'm actually really excited. It's interesting. It's something new, and something new is happening. So I'm happy with this, and I'm happy to see what Rudiger comes up with. Even though, even
100%.
if it
Yeah.
sucks, it's gonna be fun.
Mm. Yeah. Farouk, if you remember, like Alaba had a back heel clearance. Like sometimes I wonder like how man really, kind of pulls that out of his bag. He's a weird guy. Like you can't really attribute any of his standout abilities to a elite center back. But when it combines together and it translates onto the pitch, Alaba just provides stability.
Yeah, man. Before I, talk about that, actually, like, it's been reported that Militao left the stadium on his own, actually, without any crutches. He had a slight
Okay.
limp,
Hmm.
but he left without any crutches. So, like,
That's
that's
a
really
super
good news.
encouraging. Yeah.
Exactly. That's really good news about that. Well, anyways, about Alaba, man, I think the thing about David Alaba is just, all about confidence, honestly, because, I don't know. He has such a big character, similar to what Sergio Ramos used to have, during the time he was with us. Or even if you're down, but the confidence you have, make you do these things, and it's also infectious towards the people that you play with. Like as we said, like we see Rudiger and Militao play, and then it's garbage, and all of a sudden Alaba comes back, and Militao is looking very good, or Alaba is there, and like Rudiger is looking very good as well. So I think it's that confidence that he has, that really, really, helps. And I think also like one thing that we should not forget is that like he grew up virtually, with Bayern Munich, and they always dominate every single game they go in there, knowing that, yeah, it's our right to win, So having that mentality also, helps a lot. And really, as you said, like a lot of the things that Alaba does, it's really phenomenal, honestly. And, I mean, I think after Cruz, he might be the best, purchase we have value for money. Honestly, like it's been outrageous, given that he was a free transfer, honestly. So yeah, I mean, there is just no words to, quantify, uh, the kind of player or that. Away from that, even the leadership qualities that he brings to the team as well.
100%. Like it's kind of mad when someone mentions the stat, especially the commentary when they mention, last year was the first season in 11 years where Alaba didn't win a league title. That is just mental. That is just absolutely insane. A stat for someone, even though they have like he has been playing for the best teams, all around Europe. It's still a mad stat. That just goes to show, why he has stayed at the top of his game for so long. Um, but moving into midfield, man, the diamond, right? So we talked about Jude.
Loaning. You should give Loaning some credit, bro.
Oh yeah, true. Sorry about that. I kind of completely forgot because he didn't have an eventful game, but he was very calm with it. This game, right? Like his handling was top notch. His anticipation on crosses were top notch. I just wish his positioning is this consistent. But let's be honest, like we all said before, Bilbao really didn't test him, don't you think?
Agreed. I
Faru.
mean, yeah, I totally agree. Like Bilbao didn't test him honestly, but the point is you can only, face what is in front of you, and honestly, like he's done really, really well, in my opinion. I don't know what Doris thinks as well about, but today was a really good game for him.
Kepa coming in is not never going to help him mentally, right, Doris? Like you finally think you might have a chance to do something this season, but like two hours before kickoff, you hear that Kepa is done. It doesn't help one
Yeah,
bit.
but even though that all happened, apparently Lunin, had a bit of a fight or something with the coach for goalkeepers, and something happened there, and that was a few days ago. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought
yeah,
it was today. No, no, no. But earlier, yes, yes.
yeah, it was a few days ago, yeah, and so obviously there's something happening there.
Hmm.
But we can only speculate. It's not really fair because we really don't know what they were fighting about. Maybe it was just something silly, just you know, heated, moment.
Hmm.
But for tonight, I think I agree with Farooq. You can only face what's in front of you, and I think he did well. Bilbao didn't really test him that much, but for the things that I can compliment him, apart from like maybe one or two moments, he was really good with his feet, and his balls, to outfield were. I was really surprised. Like I was really, really positively surprised with him. So
His kicking has improved, definitely.
yeah, if he can, keep that up, and we'll see what happens with Kepa, and if that even goes through. Apparently, it
That
is
that's
a
the
done deal, but still,
that's
we'll
the
see.
funny bit, Doris. When Kepa comes in, like if he returns to the Kepa of three, 2.5, 3 years ago, we might wish Lunin starts. It's not a very comfortable situation to be in. I mean, every attack, in the modern game starts from your keeper, like, and he's the one who should like provide that confidence in your with your defense and whatnot. So both these keepers not being truly elite keepers, I think it's going to hurt our season, man. It doesn't instill me with
I
any
mean,
assurance.
I actually feel sorry for him. Like when you're the first substitute for someone, that person
Mm.
gets injured, and they instantly sign someone to replace you. So
And that to Kepa, it's a fucking joke.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
fucking joke. If we sign someone like Mainan, like we can understand, right?
yeah. I agree with that. If it's like a really, really like top signing, and we're gonna keep this goalkeeper, all for it, and that De
Mm.
Gea was a shout, and we can talk about it. Like who would you rather have? I think many United fans would be like, you're crazy for not taking him. He's free and all that, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Kepa, at least he's. I don't know. I'm kind of. I think we're all just di- disappointed with the entire situation.
Situation, yeah.
I did not expect this. Our season, like before the first game, to start like this.
Mm. Right, Dennis the Great says that Kepa news got me so angry. Man, would have preferred Bono. I hope you're keeping up with comments, Doris. Hassan says, I've only just got on here. Bro, what have I missed? I'm afraid you have missed quite a bit, Hassan. But yeah, man, welcome back. Dennis the Great says, exactly. So, like Kepa really, that got me mad. Ashik says, if we sign Kepa, then we might as well sign Vlahovic and Mariano. Well, I think the market for goalkeepers is not ideal, not for any side. Even Onana who was signed for, all that bucks, all that million gazillion bucks. You saw the goal he conceded from the fucking halfway line. Modern goalkeepers,
I
they are
mean,
not.
come on.
Yeah.
Like, first few games for Onana, you get a scissor kick against you
Yeah.
and a half one and the half line goal. That, I mean, I wouldn't say like it's embarrassing, that
Mhm.
embarrassing, but still, it is something for him,
It's
and
funny.
it deserves to be talked about.
It deserved to be memed, and it's rightfully memed. Like when Joselu becomes fucking Marco one Boston for like 5-10 minutes of a game against you. It's
I
peak.
mean,
It's
if
peak.
it was the
Mm.
other way around, I'm sure there would be memeing us too. If we're
Hundred
signing
percent.
like a top goalkeeper, and like the first game he
Yeah.
plays for you is that.
Yeah. 100%. And they replaced a very error-prone David De Gea as well. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's truly one for the meme books. But let's kind of move into our midfield. Hassan says the excuse of not wanting to sign Bono because of AFCON is pathetic. Lunin is good enough to cover the 3-4 games. I think it's also aided by the fact that we don't have good transfer relations with Sevilla. Especially after the Mariano deal, like we never had a good standing with them, and their asking price is 20 plus million. Like I know it's kind of peanuts when you think about it, but I don't think we're going to take that leap.
Man,
And yeah,
Onana went for 40 million, man. Like paying 20 for
60,
Bono.
60 million, 60 million,
What was it?
60. Yeah, 60 plus. I'm pretty sure.
You sure, man?
Yeah. Or maybe
Oh.
it might be 60 million pounds. I'm not 100% sure, but it should be about 40 million though. If it was 40, I would be thinking, oh, fuck, that's a bargain. I never thought he was a bargain. Maybe I'm wrong,
Huh.
Farouk. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong,
I
Farouk.
mean, I remembered around 40, 44-ish kind of number. I can't remember the
Okay.
exact number, but
Chat, let us
because
know how much Onana was, yeah?
that's what I was thinking. Like even when I was going for 44, like paying that
Mm,
for that guy was too much, honestly. Like for
mm.
Bono is 30, like he's 32, 33, something like this. So like paying that for him was, too much in my opinion. But then uh honestly, like, the thing about that is that with goalkeepers, like as you guys said, the point is if you go away from Courtois, the next best thing you find on the market is Allison. The next best thing you
Mm.
find, in my opinion, is Magic Mike. You want to buy Magic Mike? They will tell you, okay, like someone paid 80 million for a certain goalkeeper once upon a time. You have to pay
Yeah,
us 100 million, and they will be totally right.
100%. And he's
So,
one of, if not the best in the world.
so that's the thing, like, like
Mm.
it's for the goalkeeping thing, like it was always a lose-lose situation. That's why, like, I'm not so critical of what they have done and what they didn't do, honestly, because what do you want them to do? The man is going to be
Mm.
back in 1 year. Are you going to pay 50, 60 million for just a 1 year of service?
Yeah, yeah.
That also doesn't make sense as well. But then it is what it is, man. So we just have to
But
see.
then some people say, Farouk, which really scares me, like they act like Thibaut is fucking 55. They say, oh, Thibaut is 32 by the time he gets back. Let's see how he recovers. I don't know why are people so pessimistic. Like I know ACL is kind of a very uncertain injury to bounce back from, but recent advancements in medical science has shown us that people return kind of okay.
I totally share your sentiments, man, because I mean he's a
Mm.
goalkeeper. Like I mean,
Yeah,
Gigi Buffon played till he was 42, 43. We go to players like Van der Sar, Peter Cech. I mean, what are these guys talking about? In my opinion, at least, and Couto hasn't shown any sign of decline. And I think at least he has earned that benefit of the doubt for us to at least let him come back and see what he looks like, and then address this next summer. But I think for this summer, going and making a large outlay on a goalkeeper, I think that would have been wrong, in my opinion. But I can understand, like how much, because I think there is no team that their goalkeeper is so important for them like Couto has been for us. I don't think there is any team.
100%. The amount of
I
times he
don't
has bailed us
think.
out. Yeah, like
I don't
it,
think there is.
it's not the fancy shit about playing out of the back with your feet. It's just pure one man shows. Week in week out. Keeping the ball out of the net. Simple as. So yeah, man. Tebow will be hard to replace. But the boys in the chat, Hassan and Dennis, they say around 47 to 50 million. So you're right, Farouk. I was kind of wrong.
So
Transfer
that's the thing,
says
like
52 million and 500.
Transfer market, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fee.
Euros or pounds?
Euros.
Euros. Okay. So yeah, Farouk is about right because 40-ish million should be that amount in euros, if I'm not mistaken. But
that's for like a second tier goalkeeper, by the way. Like so, like if there are, I don't know.
United fans, look away. Second tier man called Onana because he is touted to be midfielder at GK. The guy is gonna fucking re-evolutionize the position, blah blah blah.
No, I totally agree with that. Like when I watch Onana, actually, like he's a beautiful footballer, but like is he a perfect goalkeeper? No, he's not.
No,
I'm sorry, but my goalkeeper has one job, which is goalkeeping. Keep the ball away from the goal. I don't care if you're fucking, Beckenbauer, born again. I don't care. I need you to keep the ball out of the net. And I mean, forget about the few games he played for United. Even Inter fans, ask them. They know this. Like for all of his good abilities, he has the ability to not stop what he actually needs to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, but yeah, this is what Ten Hag wants. So fine, I think
that's what I've always thought about. These superficial keepers who is they might not be good at shot stopping, but good at everything else. Like I don't know why that is amplified so much. Oh, he's not that good at saving shots, but boy, he can. His first touch is immaculate. He can spray the ball wherever he wants. I mean, that should be secondary in my opinion, but I guess that's how the modern game is kind of moving. But big up every single one of you in the chat. If you guys are new, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 2K. Moving on to the midfield, we thought about we actually talked about Jude Bellingham. Kamavinga Farouk, your guy, man, has been on the rise, but tonight very sloppy, right? Very sloppy though.
Yeah, just give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a new formation and all that, stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, I actually felt like because
he is better, Farouk, if he ties up his hair. His hair wasn't tied tonight. You notice because maybe that might be irritating him. I don't know.
That's like that. I mean, until you mentioned it right now, and I didn't actually notice that. But yeah, when you said it, that's actually fair. But actually, what I felt tonight was that Kamavinga, like he wasn't sure of his position. This is what I don't know if you guys saw the thinking, but I kind of felt like he wasn't sure of what he was supposed to do in this. Because I don't know, I personally feel like Fede Valverde and Jude Bellingham, in my opinion, were really good. That's what I felt like. They were good, like, but we know that these guys are two-way engines, Obviously, like different characteristics, but like they're both two-way engines. But like when you look at the player like Kamavinga, like I don't know, like I think he kind of like, okay, what should I do in this, in this midfield? I kind of feel like he was lost about not what to do per se exactly.
Yeah. Usually that happens to Fede sometimes, but not Kamavinga much.
Yeah. But actually now, see, the point is actually right now, Fede is in the midfield. Fede when he has to play the wing or the midfield, like he's usually confused in a 4-3-3 and something like that. But now he's, plethora of grass and he just has to run into space and shit like that. So, but I feel like with Kamavinga, like he wasn't too sure because like Tchouaméni was a single pivot. The other guy was the number 10. So like, I feel like he was caught in crossfield or in no man's land. I don't know, maybe, but this is what I just felt like. It seems like I am creating excuses for him, obviously, but like, I don't know, like that's just the way I watched, that's why I raised my hand up to, give him a pass for today.
100%. He kind of deserves it. Like he has had some exemplary performances, ever since he kind of broke into the team, definitely last season. Tonight I felt too many sloppy passes. I've written it down. Like I can count at least 5-6 occasions where I'm like, even while receiving a cutback from Vini, he's kind of thinking about something else. He completely loses track of the ball, which is so unlike Kamavinga. That was not him. Telling you, man, you need to get your fucking band on and tie up your hair. Maybe that's going to fix it. That's going to finally, fix it. Doris, anything to add on Kamavinga?
Not his usual exceptional performance. I mean,
Hmm.
uh, last season he was incredible. Everything he did for us. He saved us so many times. Uh, this game was not it, but still, it wasn't a bad game for him. He's still such a quality player. He sees so many things at once, and is with all the passion and all the vision that he has, and he he's also good in the defense. Even though tonight he wasn't, amazing, but having a player like him, is just invaluable. And
Hundred
Kamavinga
percent.
tonight. Last season we saw him do a lot of runs with Vinicius, like on the left side, and I hope to see
Mm.
more of that because in the preseason and right now, I don't feel like he really
I
is
think
doing
I think
enough
it's a victim.
attacking.
Mm.
He's
I
doing a
think
lot
he's.
of midfield work now.
I think it's much more down to the setup we play in because Bellingham
Yeah,
is sort of that guy who
definitely.
is,
Yeah, definitely.
so he has
Uh,
a bit more of a deeper role, I think, in this diamond.
definitely. Yeah.
But your concerns are right. Like we need runners from midfield, and if we can have additional bodies apart from Jude, it's definitely gonna help. And Mo here, he's pretty vocal. He says I disagree with Farouk. I thought Fede was inferior to Kamavinga today. Um, he also adds,
Really?
yeah, he also adds. Wait for it. Madrid's control of the game went down when Kamavinga went off. That's what he thinks. Well, I have a couple of things to add to that. When Kamavinga was on, it was yes, he was making sloppier passes, but I don't know. His positioning is pretty immaculate. I'm not gonna deny that. Like his anticipation of where and when to be, just like Jude, is his second nature. I think that kind of helps the shape a lot. Um, you know, even though on the ball he was kind of lacking. But to Mo, I would like to also tell him my humble opinion that Fede, he was much more involved. Like I think he had the brighter moments. Like he wouldn't add to how our midfield was kind of solid, but he had better moments. I feel like than Kamavinga, especially that brilliant combination that he had with um, Jude and Danny down the right. I mean, it was stuff of dreams. Honestly, it was sad that it didn't end up in a goal, but Fede for me actually had some very bright moments. Like even the free kick that was set up, the shot, like he has to adjust his body. Like the setup from Rodrigo was so shit that it didn't even move far away from his striking distance to kind of properly aim at that thing. But even then, he managed to pull off a really venomous shot that was like a couple yards wide.
The player
But
that
yeah.
pushed him actually helped him. He pushed him into the ball to shoot, and Rodrigo is really good when the ball is under him. With those little
Mm,
flicks.
yeah.
And he scored so many goals like this. It's exactly the kind of goal that we expect from him. And the commentator was saying also how when he moved to the right side, in the first half, that we finally, got something from him and something that he's, more used to, which is playing wide.
Mm, Farouk, Fede, man, his game tonight. Like,
Yeah, man. Honestly, like I'm actually quite surprised by most times, obviously, but then like everyone
mm,
sees the game through a different lens. But similar to what you were saying, like I actually saw the passes, the tackles, and because I think he had like 3, 4 true passes, to the attackers. I remember specifically two was to Rodrigo. They were, then there was like, the timely tackles and what is not. So I kind of felt like, he I don't know the word to put it, but like he was more visible, like at least from my, perspective, like I could see, his impact on the game much more than, what I saw from Kamavinga. Honestly, like Kamavinga was there, as you said, like he was solid and all, but,
You have to hear what Mo has to say about it. He just said that Kamavinga was more involved in the game than Fede. He had more touches, more key passes, more dribbles, more everything. Kamavinga made as many accurate passes as Fede attempted, you know, in the whole of the game. But I would like to kind of, support Farouk here again, unfortunately, man, because yeah, he was much more involved, but some of the lackadaisical passing from Kamavinga, even the inability to actually have a good first touch, sometimes it threw me off. I don't know why. It threw me
I
off.
mean, okay, like I can understand when he say like, he had more touches and more all of this, honestly. But I don't think because you have more touches and stuff like, makes him, at least in my opinion, makes him, more meant that he had a better game than that. As I said, like I have seen, like Federer already had a lot of, passes that actually tried to, just bypass the midfield quickly and, have a quick break, or like, he was there with a timely intervention, during, a defensive retreat and stuff like that. So that's why I said, like, at least for me, like, it was more visible, from my eyes. Obviously, like, when you go to the stats, or maybe, on a more tactical sense, maybe like Kamavinga might have had a better game. I don't know. But at least from what I saw, like, I felt like Fede was more obvious, at least to me, in the game.
Yeah, it's more of a preference kind of thing, like there are days where Fede does everything and then still it doesn't really look like he had an
It's
impact,
nothing, yeah.
Yeah. So it's I think it's down to, preference and eye test. Right. So we kind of touched upon Fede and Kamavinga. Tchouaméni, a proper deeper role, kind of I think I can see that Carlos trying to, give him a set position. I think he excelled like we anticipated him to, not the most highlight worthy game from Tchouaméni, but Doris, like he is slowly growing into that position of playing the setting, CDM in a diamond, or kind of the guy who is the deepest.
Definitely, and
Mm,
we were all crying for him to play more.
mm,
We got a lot of Tony Cruz in the past, playing, in his position, and I'm happy that like he's starting, and I just hope that he keeps uh, starting for us, because we all know, like Cruz, as amazing as he is, we need to, first, Chouameni needs to feel like he's, the integral part of the team. He
yeah,
needs to
yeah.
be in the center. He needs to do the silent work and the loud work. He needs to do everything, but he hasn't really gotten a chance, to really get into it and get the,
But last
consecutive,
year, remember Doris, like in the beginning when, like you said, when he was given that trust, he was excelling week in week
yeah,
out.
exactly. And
Mm,
I don't know, Ancelotti, he has his reasons, and I feel like he somehow min-maxed his career, with us, in such, uh, little time. He managed to do quite a lot. And I we have to trust him. There is some reason, behind it, but Chouameni starting tonight at least gives me hope, that it's gonna be a lot of that this season. And no hate for Tony. I think he definitely should be starting some games. He's still, uh, one of our best
mm.
players, and will always be one of our best players. So yeah, I'm happy for Many, and I can only say that, I hope that it keeps like that. And Tony got his
100%.
minutes still, even in the preseason.
we'll touch upon Tony and Luke in a bit. But something I completely forgot when we mentioned Farouk. Do you remember Fede actually did something insane? I don't know if you remember this passage of play where we kind of were under pressure and we kind of won the ball within like 3 yards of our D, and it was I think Militao passing it out to Fede or something. And Fede, instead of clearing the ball, he passes it square to Jude. If Jude doesn't fall over and win that foul, that is a dangerous breakaway. That's like a 3-on-2 or something, you know. And like I felt like
So I totally remember that actually.
like he
that
basically
was
killed the
insane.
man, you know. Jude was like, "What
that
the
was
fuck,
insane.
bro?" You know. But yeah, Mo has his reasons for actually thinking that Kamavinga had a better game, I guess, to an extent. But Chouameni, Farouk, we have this constant debate over here, like, is Kamavinga a better six? Is Chouameni a better six? But finally, can we say that he might have to kind of take the hit and play the six, a more traditional six?
I mean, that's what it's looking like actually tonight right now. Like it's looking like he's gonna be that guy, But before I say that as well, like there's this update on Madrid saying like Real Madrid are worried that Militao might have injured his ACL. The feelings are extremely bad. They're quoting Marca on this, and then
Okay.
Rodrigo Fires also they're quoting on Madrid. They said like he's saying like Madrid Militao's injury looks bad. The scan will be tomorrow. And in addition to that, Vini also on Twitter says like let it be nothing serious. Amen. Let's go, my brother. So
It's bad.
it's
Two
not
two
it's not
ACL
looking
injuries
good.
in a week, huh?
2020,
It's
21 season all over again. Let's go. Let's go.
I remember it was Zidane's black magic that got us to the semi-final. If
Well,
that didn't
it
happen,
unlocked Vinicius, so it did something. Maybe it unlocks someone else.
okay. Well, may your thoughts turn into gold. But Farouk, you were saying,
Yeah, so let's get back to Tchouaméni. Like let's hope for the best about Militao, but there's no point kind of what's what's happened. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like I think we also had this discussion in the past. Like it's looking that way that Tchouaméni has been trying to be shoehorned into that lone pivot position. But as we've said, even at Monaco, like the where we saw him and paid a lot of money for him, like he wasn't that lone pivot. He was playing together. I can't remember. Was it with Sissoko or someone? I can't remember the name of the player he was playing with. He was playing a double pivot, even at
I don't remember.
Monaco. So like it's it's only making sense that you want to try to make him do that as well. But the point now becomes that in our team we play a 4-3-3 with a single pivot. So like Tchouaméni is a very intelligent player. He's going to learn how to do that. But the point is, would we give him enough time to do that? And actually, one of the reasons why I was actually happy with our midfield that I was saying to you earlier was that it was a team effort. Like it was a midfield 4 effort. So like because of that, like I could not see the deficiencies of Tchouaméni being a lone pivot because unlike when we play with Kroos, Modric, and Fede or whoever was the third midfielder, like we left either Kroos or Kamavinga alone to do that job. But today it wasn't that.
Yeah,
Today
yeah.
it was like an honest shift. From the midfield 4.
Combined effort. When you see your Bellingham, who is supposed to be the furthest of the diamond, drop all the way back, put in the hard yards, it just makes you feel good, man. It just makes you feel that everybody is working in tandem, which
exactly. So whatever you
Mm.
feel about the Real Madrid midfield or what you don't feel about them, one thing you cannot fault them for is the lack of effort. So this is the
100%.
this is the most important thing we're seeing right now is that this is a midfield that's working as a unit. Hence, honestly, like I think it's gonna be really, really helpful for Tchouaméni in the long run in the sense that right now why he's still being bedded into this position, he's having this time. And also like as you pointed out with Doris earlier, like last year this time Tchouaméni was excelling in this position, honestly. He was before, the whole injury World Cup and
Casemiro was quickly forgotten.
That's the thing. Honestly, he was excelling in this position. So, because of that, at least, we have a bit of hope that, and we believe that he's an intelligent footballer that has athleticism and, the reading of the game. Obviously, we're not replacing Casemiro here, you understand, but rather we're trying to find a different solution to the situation of the lone pivot as well. But I think in the long run, hopefully he can develop into that. And even if he doesn't, I mean that's the thing we have with our midfielders. We can always go back to that double pivot thing as well eventually.
That's very true. Even Jude has plenty of experience actually playing in a double pivot, but I feel like his expertise in the final third is kind of negated. If we deploy him that deep. But yeah, like the diamond really, really is our soul saving grace. I think this season, especially without a reference point up top. We touched upon Rodrigo as well. Let's go through some of the comments quickly before we kind of touch upon the subs. Right. We have to go a bit back, I think. Doris, if you can help me out. Young Faro's big up Young Faro. He says really in a striker, a world class one. Rajat was saying may as well have matched Bayern's bid for Kane, if we are not getting Mbappe. I mean, Kane was out of the equation ever since like Mbappe was a realistic possibility. Like we all knew it's not going to happen. It was never going to happen. Young Farah says Alaba needs to stay healthy. Real Madrid's midfield might be the best in the game. So Mo was we touched upon that, right? Young Farah was saying Cruz needs to come off the bench first half of the season so he stays fresh with Modric for the Champions League. That's a very good point. We were crying out for all sorts of stuff like that last season, but since we added, Bellingham, we have, I think, the luxury to, really rest up these men. But you never know, like even last year we thought there will be a radical change a radical revolution from Carlo, but when things got sticky, he kind of reverted back to, what worked for him or what he thought would work best for him. I hope that doesn't happen this season. He's much more ruthless this season. Rajat says go for Pavard from Bayern. He doesn't plan to sign an extension. I don't know about Pavard, like honestly, since the Carvajal situation has been the way it has been for quite a while, would we really go for Pavard? There has been no indication ever, so slightly even. So if it happens, I'll be happy, but that's about it.
Pavard broke my heart in the World Cup in 2018.
Right.
It's just no. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want to see him.
Right, there you go. Lannister sent their regards. Doris is pretty vocal about what she felt. It's been 5 years, bro. I think you should move on, but I know where you come from, so it's not going to be easy.
Never forget.
Never forget. Right. Pepperidge Farm remembers or something, right? Mo is kind of giving an explanation for what he felt. So he was saying, for me, I felt Kamavinga had a more rounded game. He had a better performance in the defense as well as offensively, but that's just my opinion. We all have our opinions, and that's why we do this, right? Sun is in the chat. Welcome back, Sun. I hope you're doing well, bro. He says Carvajal had surprisingly a decent game. 100%. We touched upon that, early in the post match. Tato says, "Can you guys please speak English?" Is he taking the fucking piss, Tato? If we are not speaking English, I would much rather you leave the stream and go listen to some English, bro. Might help your cause. Hassan says, is it only me who is sick of the sound of Mbappe? I'm tired. 100%, man. Mbappe is a word that has been haunting us for quite a while. When Farouk kind of asked, in the group chat, like, is he actually going to sign an extension? I couldn't believe it, but, since then, the rumors have been circulating that, it might look like there might be a reconciliation on the cards. I'm gonna fucking flip. not gonna lie. It's gonna be it's gonna be peak because I had such hopes. This would be finally the year, but it is what it is. Yeah, young Faro has a very hot take. He says Kane is terrible. I have no idea. What you have against him, man. He played for Spurs. Like if
Arsenal
you,
fan. Arsenal fan, man.
bro, he played for Spurs. What did he do? Nothing. Nothing. How can you hate someone who didn't win anything? Who didn't
Did you
cause
watch the game against Barcelona? They
the John
were
Camper Trophy? No.
1-up, and then Barcelona won 4-2 in the.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they scored in like the 88th minute or something like that.
Okay.
Spurs being Spurs, literally.
I
Hilarious.
heard that 15-year-old kid had a good
I
game.
turned it
Yamal.
off then.
Oh, okay. Right. Stanis says, how does the guy with the most accurate passes and clearly most influence of the game be less effective than the guy with few misplaced passes and fewer accurate passes because he clearly was less involved? It is a question that I think this will never be, answered because, like we talked about earlier, it's down to preference. I think sometimes
I mean,
Freddie puts in the shift.
it
Yeah,
happens. It happens. Like, I mean, if that's the case, like, why is Jude Bellingham the man of the match if the other guy had the most passes and the most accurate passes? Like, I mean, it doesn't just have to be about, the amount of touches and the amount. I mean, when you go and look at the people who have amount of touches and amount of accurate passes, like,
yeah,
even you go and you always, you're always gonna see it. They're like center backs, they're like defensive midfielders and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean like they're always the best players on the team or like they're always the most influential. I mean, a player like Kevin De Bruyne does not necessarily have the most touches in a game. Mostly that's reserved for a player like Rodri or John Stones. Well, you know that Kevin De Bruyne is the most influential player. So it's possible to have that. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the most passes and the most touches. It necessarily means that, I mean, there was a time when Michael Carrick was having the most pass accuracy in the Premier League, but you would never say Michael Carrick is the best player in the Premier League as well. So I mean, there is that. So like, I understand, what the point that's being made, and I totally agree with
yeah.
that. Why it doesn't necessarily mean that because I do this, I mean, it doesn't. And I mean, also another thing that we also have to understand is that strikers miss more than they score, right? Isn't that how it works? Every single chance they
100%.
have, they don't bury. So like, I mean, because the striker has one chance and one goal, and this guy has four chances and one goal, that doesn't mean that this is a better striker than this as well. So I mean, the stats are always just misleading and just stuff like this. But eventually, that's the thing. Like we all sit here so we can share our opinions and go back and forth. That's the whole fun of this, honestly. Because if we all just agree with each other, then let's just close up and shop and just go and do something else. The whole point is to have different perspectives and see how other people think as well.
100%. Yeah. Make this an open conversation. You're bang on. Let's talk about our subs, man. So let's do it club together. I think, because none of them had like standout performances apart from maybe Modric, who looked, I think, the more involved. In my opinion, he had some neat exchanges with with Joselu and whatever. But yeah, man, quickly, our reference point, Joselu, Rajat was saying earlier, he just doesn't cut it. Doris, what's your opinion on Joselu, man? Like, even as a secondary option, a plan B from the bench, like, can you put your money on him to rescue a game when the going gets tough?
So when we got him,
Mm,
it, the thinking there was apparently that he's a replacement for Mariano and not for Benzema. And if we're
mm,
gonna compare him to Mariano, I would much rather have Joselu there. And he's a
mm.
solid player, but we definitely need someone else to play instead of him. I wouldn't trust him, to play as our main striker this season, especially in the Champions League and so many games that we play in the season now. But
Mm.
as a substitute, yeah, definitely. And I mean, if he's gonna give us performances like against United, uh, as a substitute, I'm all for it, man. and that is actually like a viable option for us if we go for someone. But
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
let's
But the
see.
only thing is, yeah, sometimes I think this chopping and changing of formations, like I kind of lost my stream, so I really couldn't keep track of. Do you guys remember what formation did we shift into when Joselu came on? Was it a diamond or was it a 4-3-3? Can you
Nah, man,
guys
like
help me out?
the wingers were out. Both Rodrigo
Mm.
and Vinicius were taken off, so like it was
Yeah,
a flat 4-5-1 formation.
four
I
five
don't know,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay.
With five midfielders and no wingers, like it's just a
Right,
flat four
right.
five
So,
one.
so it was just a patch up job basically. So there wasn't. Yeah, okay, okay, fair, fair, fair.
Yeah.
Right. Joselu for me is gonna help where sometimes we need to just bombard crosses and inshallah basically revert to what worked for us a few years ago, and hopefully he gets on the end of something. But apart from that, like if you are going to, like what Dora said, expect him to be Benzema, expect him to get involved in passages of play that's gonna be intricate. He's not that man. But Farouk, Cruz, Modric, and the likes. Quick thoughts.
Yeah, I mean it was quite refreshing to see them come on as as alternatives honestly. For the thing is when Cruz came, I think we also like there was a bit of rustiness there, like he was kind of a bit rusty. It was obvious, and yeah, obviously Modric was a bit more tuned in. But the only thing is that it showed like the what should I say, like it showed what the future holds. You understand, in the sense that when we come to the big games, our players aren't exhausted, because honestly, like, when we look at the game against City, obviously, I know like they were the better team, but like there was a lot of fatigue there as well, you understand? Like our players had a lot of mileage in them, and you also have to put in, the eight as well as a factor, you understand? So the point is, if we're able to, play one of them, put in one, taking one away, so stuff like that, honestly, I think it's gonna be really, really good. But just the fear is, as we know, is that Carlo is the creature of habit, so would he go back and revert to what he knows best and what he trusts best and just disregard everything, and then we're back in the same situation again? But honestly, like rather than what they give today, just like I was more excited about what the future holds. When if you're able to give these players a lot of rest, and when it comes to crunch time, hopefully they can deliver even to the best of their potential.
Since Francesco is on the coaching staff, I shall, and really build up that chemistry towards the end of the season, so that if we see a drop in mentality or someone kind of lacking a bit of belief, a Modric can be thrown in, a Cruz can be thrown in, and we still tick like normal, right? We need to make this midfield machine well oiled. Only then we can really stand with even a shot for the semi-finals. But even then, when I mentioned the semi-finals, people would say that I'm loco. Basically, like it'll be hard to it'll be hard for people to believe in that a semi-final is realistic at this point. But I'm telling you, like most of us have that gut feeling. I'm just telling it out loud that our midfield is gonna be our holy grail, no matter what. But any other subs that I'm missing, guys?
Well, no, I mean it was just Cruz, Modric, Joselu, and Rudiger, and we
Joselu.
talked about Rudiger when
Yeah, right.
the points.
Right. Thoughts on Carlo? Quick thoughts. Farouk, you can start first. You can go first.
I mean, it was nothing special. The only issue right now is the fact that our midfield and our attack actually seem to have a kind of disconnect at certain points in the game, and that's because I mean there were instances where like the ball was played to either Rodrigo or Vinicius, but like it was almost impossible for them to do anything unless you're asking them to become prime Maradona and every single attack that goes
Fede
on.
multiple times when he broke, and then he looked for someone in the box. There's no one. He has to
Exactly.
hesitate, rethink. Is you like
Exactly.
when you're a wide guy and you're kind of breaking into space and looking for a target man, and then a split second you have to rethink your decision. You're fucked. You don't know what to do.
And that's the thing, when you're breaking at speed, it means that there's an advantage there to be taken. But when you slow the game down, you give the opposition team, the chance to recoup and regroup as well. So that's the thing there, like, so we need to find a way. But the question now becomes, how do you find this way? Because unfortunately, this is the hand that Carlo Ancelotti has been dealt. Like, I have been a critic of Carlo, honestly, but this is the hand he has been dealt. What should we do? Is he gonna is he gonna pull a rabbit out of his ass? I mean, definitely not. You understand? This is the hand he has been dealt. So, because I personally don't know, even what would he do? He doesn't have a striker. He has two wingers. He goes to the bench. It's Osilo and Brahim Diaz. So what else do you want him to do? He can only put on
Brahim,
more.
he didn't get a sniff, yeah? Brahim.
No, Brahim wasn't on today. So that's the thing, that disconnect between the midfield and the attack, I think it's going to be there constantly. We just, I think we're going to be a team of moments, like teams that, we're going to break. Because, if you guys could notice, like, when we break forward with, with Jude and, Jude, Carvajal and Fede as well, like it was, we had a lot of, smart combinations that eventually one of them led to the goals. And eventually, we had the corner and also Jude scored from that. So I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be, we're just going to break forward in moments, as a group of 5, 6, and then that's what we're going to take. But again, similarly, like I said earlier, like in the preview, like we have to wait for 5, 10 games to actually see, what Carlo is trying to do with this team, because right now it's just one sample size, and it's difficult to, and right now we're also having not a goalkeeper. So, with the presence of a new goalkeeper, what's going to happen with that as well, So it's going to give us more insight into like what Carlo is looking to achieve with this team, what he's trying to get out there. So until then, I will just refrain from, critiquing or crediting him for now.
Pretty neutral, Doris, Carlo. Can we expect a little less stubborn Carlo, who is kind of giving maybe his final season in club career a real go?
I mean, the last 2 seasons with him were actually kind of, I would say, kind of successful. Not the first season was incredible, definitely. Last season he played with what he had. We all like to whine about it, and the way he likes to play. But for this season, and he's gonna be here for a short time, and it's a completely new lineup and a completely new foundation we're trying to build, and for 1 year I guess we'll see what is going to happen. Maybe they let him experiment, because I doubt that the board is actually expecting us to do really anything this season. So at least use it to see what you can do with your players. And there's still time in the transfer window. I guess we'll see what happens, because this conversation can be completely different depending on who else we get, and if we even get anyone else.
That's a very measured take as well, because in many ways, like, I feel sympathetic for Carlo, because I feel like his hands were tied a bit, especially when with us not opting for a striker of of a caliber like a Harry Kane. But I still truly believe that he can do something even without a guy like Mbappe, and I just hope that comes true, man. A few comments before we kind of wrap this up. Ashik was saying stats tell you a very part of just a part of the whole story in football, right? He then adds, today when Joselu came into the game, Carlo took his wingers out. Joselu is not a Benz who can play without wingers. Facts, 100%. He needs the service. He can't, make space for himself. Mo says, I don't think you're far off base, Suned. I think this team has the potential to go far with the right draw. Just have to figure out how to get the best out of Vinny in the system. Vinny, yeah, we didn't touch upon Vinny much, but we can give him a pass. Like, I still remember the way he kind of killed the guy. I think, what was his name? Vivian, yeah. He just fucking rinsed him. Like, left, right, inside out. Man just got teleported into fucking Neptune. But, yeah, man. yeah, Vinny was trying. He was trying, but you could see like Rodrigo is much more suited to playing a kind of an inside role in a diamond front two. For Vinny, he would like all the width he needs because that's his natural game. And Rodrigo's natural game is more akin to the system we're trying to implement. It's just a clash of styles. Like people can't be harsh on Vinny. Come on, man. Like the amount of attention he pries away from defenders, like it gives us the opportunity. It gives us Jude's goals. Jude's line breaking runs. Rodrigo's incisiveness. Like Vinny is a huge reason for that. Mo also adds with repetitions. I hope we'll see better understanding between the attackers in this system. It has to really come with time. And I still have my reservations about the diamond because against a better midfield, they played something akin to a 4-2-3-1 or something, right? With a midfield that is kind of a double pivot that stays back. We kind of overran their setup, probably why we had a much dominant performance, especially in the second half. But that's not going to be the case with teams that play like Barcelona, who can sit deep and also counter with great precision. Like it's gonna not be that straightforward. Mo also says totally agree with Farouk. I think Farouk's take on how Carlo has to be given a neutral rating for tonight. I liked how Farouk kind of put it. Frederick says, big up Frederick. He says, good game from a Barcelona fan watching from Norway. Big up, Norwegians, Hoyland and Odegaard and Haaland. Haaland's brace, I saw it, yesterday.
Is Hoyland from Norway as well? I thought he was Danish.
He's from Norway, right? He's from Norway.
No, I think he's from Denmark.
Are you sure? Really?
I mean, isn't that the whole point why we are calling Walmart?
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I must have completely.
She's from Denmark.
Okay. I might be. Oh yeah, my bad.
He wishes he's from Norway. At least he can get to kiss the boot of at least Haaland when no one is seeing.
Right. Yeah, Hassan says Hoyland is Danish, but man, Haaland, man, like he was the first ever player to score the first 2 goals of the season. That's mad, like right where he left off.
I mean, just make a list of every history there is there in the Premier League about goal scoring, and every week you can cancel one off.
Imagine Benzema left, right when Haaland was about to come. But yeah, that might have meant that we would never get the Ballon d'Or season. I would never sacrifice that, but still, if Haaland was here, we would be so. Imagine Haaland playing, right in front of Jude Bellingham, and with all the service he would have gotten, it would have been pretty insane.
No, it's not too late, man. I believe that's something that could happen down the line. Honestly, I do believe that it's something that can happen down the line as well. That's because I mean, Pep's gonna leave most likely in 25 or 26 or whatever it is, and they're gonna have to rethink the whole thing and stuff like that. And I believe why not? Like he's done. I mean, he's done everything he can do in England already, so there is no point, unless he's also gonna go through to want to break the Alan Shearer record thing.
It's kind of good in a way that they won the treble in the first year, right? I mean, it's kind of good. Yeah. But big up every single one of you in the chat. Big up all of our audio listeners as well. Keep sending us feedback and your opinions on our episodes, man. It's really great to hear that like people have reached out saying that this really keeps them company on drives, on morning walks, on jogs, in the gym. It's really flattering, honestly. Like I didn't when I started this podcast, really I didn't expect us to really be on people's day-to-day lives, being a companion. But truly humbling to hear all that. And moving into our third year, I just hope that you guys can, show us the support you guys have always, showered upon us. Friendly reminder, we are under 200 from 1K on Spotify. If you haven't followed us over there already, please smash the follow button. The same with Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that. If you haven't followed us already, please make sure you follow us on, on all audio platforms. Also, we have been kind of wrapping up the content from the Burnabout. We are going to be, intensively kind of, doing fan cams, especially after home games. A big up, Sid, who has been helping us with stuff over, in Madrid. Show some love to our kit review as well. Some very freakishly adorable kids, like who gave their very honest opinion on the third kit, like it was a banger, and it was really nice to hear from fans of every demographic. I was surprised, all the way from States to Spaniards, Londoners. It's pretty nice, pretty nice. Hassan says only if Mbappe had Haaland's mentality. Well, that's what it's all about, right? Mbappe has to have his chip changed. Frederick says, looking forward to next stream. Thanks, mate. It truly means a lot. But yeah, smash the like, tell a friend to tell a friend. We're on the road to 2K, so any kind of help is massively appreciated. This is a passion project. We don't make money out of this. Nothing. We just do this because we love the team. We love talking about, and making this, talking about the club and making this a two-way conversation, man. That's what it's all about. But what's our next game? It's Getafe or Girona? Is it Girona? Girona, right? Second game, I think it's Girona next weekend. Is it Farouk? Can you confirm for me for a second?
Almeria next.
Almeria. Right. Almeria's next. Right. Away again. Right. So we're on the road 3 match days in a row. So will you be back here? Is it next Sunday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Right.
7:30.
So, okay. 7:30 Madrid time. Right. Great. So we'll be back here, usual, like we have been doing this for the past, 2 years. I hope, we can keep this rolling into something significant, because we can't take the foot of the gas. We saw how brightly we started off last season and we kind of fell off. That shouldn't happen this season. No Mbappe, no strikers, no excuses. Simple as. La Liga should be a very realistic target this season. Sergio Arribas derby as well. I'm looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it. I hope he has a good game as well. But until next time, people. Hala Madrid.
Madrid.
Ala Madrid.